Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pocketeers. My name is Nate, this is Mike. If we've not met before, hello and welcome to the channel. It's so nice of you to join here. It's so nice of you to click on this video. We really do appreciate it. Today, we are doing something different. We are reviewing the weekly Ursiiday Pocket Tournament decks. Mike's idea, so let us know if you like it. If you don't, it's his fault. But Mike's actually built one of these decks. He's actually got two of these decks. And we released a video on one of these decks without even knowing that they were going to come third. So we're very keen to talk about it. We're just going to quickly touch on what's won and what was placed in the top 4. We didn't do top 5 because Mike hates Darkrai.
We don't talk about Darkrai here. We don't do that here.
But we've got the standings here. We'll quickly touch on each deck list. We'll open them up for you. But just quickly touch on 5th and 6th. Darkrai Magnezone. Clearly a staple in the meta. We've got Weevil and Darkrai there in 7th as well. So I think Darkrai is clearly a really strong Pokemon. As you can see further down, everyone's playing Darkrai. So
yeah,
very
I think
strong Pokemon.
You look at the top 4 decks that won. 2 grass decks, a
Which
Palkia
counter
deck,
Darkrai.
and a Hitmonlee, and 3 out of the 4 decks I would say are direct counters to Darkrai. So it isn't a surprise that Darkrai didn't make the top 4 because there were so many counters to Darkrai in the top 8. So it was just luck of the draw for, unfortunately, poor Magnezone. But this is one of the biggest tournaments and really tells you what the meta is like. Nate, how many people were registered for this tournament?
1,991 players. 2 dropped, so it was 1,889 in total. Wow. Crazy an amount of players. And these are the top 4 decks. Starting with a 4th place, the deck that Mike is currently running in our local organized tournament. By the way, join the Discord if you haven't, because we host tournaments. And we're Limitless Official. Yippee! Magnemite, Magneton, Magnezone with Marshadow, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan. Now, Mike, you tell us about this deck quickly, because you've kind of built it.
We're going to run a video on this deck very soon. And I think it came out as a result of how do you manage Darkrai. And I love this deck because it's got the Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan in, which is two of my favorite Pokemons. The Hitmonlee is really there to splash damage on the bench. It takes out a whole lot of decks. Like Gyarados, your Magikarps are dead in the water, right? Any stall deck that stalls with Druddigon, you bring Hitmonlee out and your opponent is either forced to not play anything from their hand or take damage on their bench while they are stalling with Druddigon. So this is a direct counter to any deck that stalls with Druddigon. So it's really awesome. The Marshadow is there as a counter revenge Pokemon because your Hitmonlee can take damage. So it's really good, and all you have to do is drop a Marshadow and 1 energy, and if you die, you've got 100 damage to take out anything.
Initially, off the bat, what I really like is 2 turns of Hitmonlee, sniping your bench, Cyrus, Marshadow, done. Thanks for playing the game. I love that.
And but the big card of this deck, and I think my favorite new card for the next set is Magnezone, because Magneton was a really good energy sort of generator. But it had nothing to do with 60 damage only, unless you were trying to power up a Raichu with LT Surge. Now with Magnezone, effectively, if you can turn 3, once you get the Magnezone in your hand and you've got 3 energies on that Magneton in 2 turns, it powers itself up. It does 110. That's 130 to a Palkia deck.
Wow.
Which you've now sniped and set up damage with Hitmonlee. So not only do you have a counter to Palkia, you have a counter to Darkrai because it can stall, because it stalls. You have a counter to Gyarados. It's like there's so many decks that it's good against, and it's really not a difficult deck to build. But the biggest thing about this deck, do you notice what's missing? No X Pokemon.
No EX Pokemon.
So you're forcing your opponent to take 3 prizes as well, which gives you more time to control the game and win it on your terms. So
it makes me scared to play against you. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't want you to see this deck because it's really built really nicely. I think the 2 Cyruses, because you're splashing the damage, the setup of it is pretty standard and straightforward. There's nothing really weird. I would argue that the only thing you could put a Sabrina in there if you wanted to have more control over the field. But it's very consistent, and I can see why it got to top cut. And I think if there were more Darkrai's in the top 4, this deck would have gone all the way to win the game.
Up in 3rd place, we have, what did we call it? Drown the Meta is our video. Mike's also running this deck, so Mike can also talk about this deck. I mean, there's not much to talk about. Funnily enough, we decided that it would be best for you to run the Articuno EX, and third place takes with an Articuno EX tech in this deck.
It's really just super consistent. Its energy acceleration is perfect because you get Manaphy out. You have so many options, and Articuno gives you a 3 energy attacker. You got Ben splashing, and on top of that, as a bonus, you can drop Misty in turn 1, donk your opponent.
I'm almost convinced this person watched our video. This deck is exactly the same as your deck. It's got the 2 capes, it's got the 2 Misties, it's got the 2 Leafs.
Yeah, that's the only change. I only run 1 Misty, and I would run a Professor's Communication in there. That's why change, and I do that to increase consistency. And I hate the big tails on Misty. Yeah. So, but when it works, and like you said, he rode his luck and came third, so it's really good. And I think this is one of the best decks in the format. It's a lot of fun to play as well. Yeah,
if you want more of a deep dive on this deck, go check out our previous video or the video before that. Drowning the meta with Palkia, Vaporeon, and Manaphy. Very, very good video. It's doing very well on the channel as well, so go give it some love. Wow, we move on to second place, sorry. Good old grass deck. Darkrai's worst enemy, Exeggutor Celebi. Interesting.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It got second place because this Darkrai's worst enemy, and Darkrai was everywhere, so I'm glad. What do you think about the deck list? What's the things that stand out to you?
I'm so surprised that it works, but you have Exeggutor to tank with Rocky Helmet, so it's perfect while you build up your energy head flips on Celebi. I personally dislike point flipping decks, but you've got your Erica in there and you've got your potions there, so you're keeping that Exeggutor alive forever to get enough energies on Celebi for it to matter. And for 1 energy to do 80 damage potentially with Exeggutor, man, it's actually really strong. And this deck came second because I think the winner of the tournament is slightly stronger because of the EX Pokemon, but this is a solid deck. I like it. I think it's fun as well. I think it's really fun to play.
It's got that healing, you can heal up to 70 damage plus the cape, so like 90
insane.
Damage. And then you've got the Rocky Helmet while you're stalling. And on top of that, you just sweep in, clean the field with Celebi. By the time you have 3 energies and he's got like 50 HP left, you only need 1 more heads to win the game.
Exactly. You're not trying to flip 6 heads to 1 hit knockout, right? You're only trying to get 1 or 2 heads. So yeah, very nice.
Really good deck. And I think that it does better because there's so much Darkrai. Without the amount of Darkrai's, this deck won't do as well as it is.
I agree. And I'd also only say the other thing that I really like is the fact that there's only 3 basics, which means your consistency is there. Because as some of you don't know, maybe, you have to, there's no mulligans in TCG Pocket. So you have to start at the basics. So it'll always be an execute up front first, like probably 80% of the time, which is what you want. So very, very cool deck. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and then you get the Pokeball to get another one out, or you get the Celebi out when you need it. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but you can take a look at the format moving forward. We're going to see a lot more low Pokemon decks coming out. That's the trend that's happening right now.
Very nice. And the winner, Yanmega. Same deck, or similar setup, but pretty much the same, but with a Yanmega EX instead of a Celebi EX. I think this is the same in terms of stalling with Exeggutor. However, I prefer it because it removes the randomness of the tail flip.
That's probably what won him the game as well. You're doing exactly the same thing. You got in that Darkrai killer. You got the Yanmega built up. It's also...
It's much more consistent with damage as well.
It's got different weakness typings to the Celebi as well, the Yanmega.
Yeah, it is a flex because against the Charizard deck you would struggle, but Yanmega doesn't because he's weak to lightning.
Yeah, so and lightning's not doing that great except for Magnezone. So it's kind of like, I think both decks are good. I think that
I agree with you.
Which one is your favorite out of the top 4?
I was about to say, I think this is my favorite. This is my least favorite because I'm about to lose to it.
If I get to talk that with you,
this is really fun to play if you can get your water energies on the field.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
I've played with Celebi and I just hate the randomness of it, which is why I really like this deck. It's got the heal factor there. That 120 damage, if you think about it, you only need to hit 1 attack with Exeggutor, and then you can sweep with Yanmega. You can't do that with Celebi. It's still random. I think that
Yeah,
consistency made him win the game. Made him
if
win
you had
the league.
Celebi on the field and I told you were going to get 3, if you're going to flip 3 coins, but you're going to get a definite 2 heads, I think you'd take it, right?
But
And
it's
now
still
you
less
get
damage than Yanmega.
exactly what I'm saying. Yanmega's better because you're doing 3 energies and you're getting a solid 120.
Exactly.
So it's like you got 2 heads plus a bonus 20.
Yeah. I really like it. We'll definitely see if we can build these decks up. Video will be coming soon on this deck. As a reminder, if you haven't seen it yet, we have a video exactly of this deck list for you, minus the Misty, but nevertheless, you should definitely go check it out. We look forward to actually discussing the deck because we have a little tournament going on, and we're going to go through some of the decks that have been popping off in that tournament. Darkrai Magnezone.
And you'll see one of us will be sad because
And
they
one of us
didn't
will happy.
work, and one of us will be happy, and I'm hoping I'm the happy one.
Yeah,
even
we'll,
though Nate is 3-0. He's got 9 points. He's
I have
won
been
every
doing
game
well.
so
I have
far.
been doing well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. Let us know in the comments what you think of these top 4 decks. Let us know if you're running any of them. And if you are, feel free to join the Discord and share your deck lists of what they are looking like for you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, liking the video, share it with your friends, because I mean, there's no other 2 nerdy friends that talk about Pokemon on this platform. So come on, give us some love. See you next video.
Cheers, guys.